Hope everybody's clearing their throats, getting ready for this fabulous show. This is from the gutters, man. This is from the bottoms of the bottoms. For everybody that does not know about this title, before I give an introduction to my panel today as my super guest, but he's not really a guest, man. He's got diplomat immunity on Di-RRec Gaming. He can come whenever he wants to, go wherever he wants to. But this thing that I created about 2 years ago called Live from the Streets. It's not something that originated on YouTube. This thing originated from my cell phone directly off of the Xbox chat rooms, and it finally derived into Mixer, and to where from Mixer I was able to then channel to YouTube. And I held this thing because it meant so much to me, because there's so many people I was getting to meet playing the Xbox games on live. And when they were finding out that I was actually recording, or letting them know I was recording, they wanted to support. And it's just a way that I reached back, Sick, and basically was like, I got to do something for these gamers, man, that they have a lot of passion that'll probably never be heard. And, and I just wanted the normal. I wanted the normal gamer. And I want people to hear the voices of the normal gamer, the one who's out here buying these games, the one who's out here playing these games. I find interest in what they have to say. Today, I have my man SIKSLAYER in the building. The title is about our previous E3 show. This guy right here is very knowledgeable. This is my brother, man. I'm glad to have him. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome this evening to what I call Di-RRec Gaming. Sick, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Today was a all right day. Not crazy weather, not crazy hot or nothing. We came off of a heat wave, the East Coast, and passed over a week now. I think it's ended, maybe a couple days. Man, it's good to be not sweltering hot like it's the middle of summer in the middle of spring.
Facts.
So yeah, E3 still on technically, but for the majority of us gamers, I would say about 80% of what we expected to see, we've seen. There's a couple more, press conferences, but like Microsoft is doing something on Thursday. There's still a couple of things here and there, but generally, all the big names have done what they're gonna do if they plan to do anything. So,
right.
Even before Microsoft, when I think it was Ubisoft, we should talk about. But even before then, I just want to talk about E3 as a gamer. To me, it's a tradition for me to make sure I take off of work long in advance. I'll, find out what day the main conferences are on, like the Xbox conference. Usually the Xbox conference goes first, and maybe the Sony one will either be the same day or day after. Years past, they used to be the same day or whatever. Or at least it would be, within a day or two period, you would get the console manufacturers and the bigger publishers, EA, Ubisoft, what have you. So this year, as is the pattern's been doing, Xbox went first console-wise because Sony's not there, as we know. They're also not there at Gamescom, by the way, folks. So if you think this is just an E3 thing, Sony's not there at Gamescom either, although I'll speak on that a little bit later.
Wow.
I'll speak on that. But there's no news. Like, people forgot because everybody, focuses on E3, but Gamescom is a very big show. And the same time when they announced they weren't going to be at E3, they did announce they weren't going to be at Gamescom either. But I'll touch on that in more detail in a little bit. But I've always taken off of work, for E3. at least for the major press conferences and whatnot, you know.
Right.
So Xbox being on a Sunday, unfortunately, I work Sundays, so I had to put in some PTO for that, you know, paid time off, you know, so I could definitely watch that and enjoy with no interruptions, nothing in the way. So, you know, it's always been a tradition as gamers, you know, especially in the times of high-speed internet where we could watch a live stream of the conference, because it used to be you would have to read about this stuff in magazines and whatnot. I still have a Game Fan magazine from the first E3 that I really think I followed. It was one of the last issues of that magazine, I want to say. No, it couldn't have been. But this was when Street Fighter Alpha was first announced as Street Fighter Legends. This was when, I think, 95 or so, when E3 was in Atlanta for that 1 year, or 2 years. So back then, you would have to read about this stuff in magazines. Nowadays, we have, you know, the power of high-speed internet. We can watch a live stream, hell, in high definition, 60 frames a second. You know, it used to be a time where even if you were watching it in, you know, 480p standard def, you know, internet speeds was so slow, you know, where, you know, the connection would act up. Even when you're not doing nothing, you reset your internet connection, you know, your connection was as fast as it could be. You're not doing anything that's on it. You know, you're not downloading anything or anything's running in the background to eat up your internet just to watch the stream. Nowadays, folks, every time you hear that phone ring, my aunt,
ain't saying nothing,
calling
man.
my mom.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, but it drives me nuts. And she should know better by now not to do that when I call in advance. Like, please don't call that house.
Yo, shout out to all the great moms out there, man. Shout out to all the great moms out there.
All the great moms and my aunt love you too.
Facts.
Yeah, family is the reason why I even got into gaming in the first place. This is big facts. But anyway, back to what I was saying was nowadays we could watch it in 1080p 60 frames, and immediately after the key, you know, videos and whatnot, you can watch it 4K 60. After the fact, it's even more detailed to break it down even more when you watch it that second time or third or fourth or fifth time, depending on what trailer it was. You know, you see it in so much more quality and detail. So we are very fortunate to be able to enjoy these things from the comfort of our home. And, you know, a lot of the people that I've run with, you know, One Away Dragons, K-Mega, and others have been to E3. This year, I would have been there as well if it wasn't for this pandemic. But rest assured, next year, I'll be there. So this was going to be, for me, one of my last times to do it the way I've always done it, as a gamer, not as somebody who's on YouTube or somebody who has a voice or a platform, or of choice of platforms that I could speak on, you know, like I have the ability to here.
Right.
With our friend Legal. So it's different for me going forward in the future. So this was the last time I could really watch it as just a gamer, right? And yeah, I get to say what I think about it, but I'm not there at the press conference, you know, for a big moment and a big reveal and to react like everybody else there at the spot. I hope and plan to be doing that next year. So, and I think everybody knows what that's like, to just watch and be excited and anticipate what's going to be there and to see, and then to debate with your gaming friends, right? And maybe the internet is at large, but we know how that goes nowadays with the fanatics out there, the cult of certain platforms that are out there, and some people who just really can't be objective with themselves to say the truth how it is, right? And so, with all that being said, you know, there was a number of good press conferences and a number of bad ones, and a number of ones that were so bad you didn't even realize they were press conferences until they were over and you're going, wait, what? And I don't mean Capcom. Okay? So we're going to break that down. So first off, I want to say, I think the first one I saw was Ubisoft. That was before Microsoft, right? Ubisoft was?
That's right.
Right. So Ubisoft show, I think, was pretty good. It was a nice, varied show, right? They had a little something for everybody, you know? And I think Ubisoft did a great job, except for the fact that they didn't have a Splinter Cell. And it wasn't at the Xbox show either. And to me, that's a big L for the reasons that I've mentioned in the past week. Like, it's been years. You keep alluding to him. You keep guest featuring him in the other Tom Clancy games. But you're not but you're not doing the Marvel move to make it into a big universe and really profit. Give the gamers what they want. So for Ubisoft, I think I've given them a B plus or an A minus. I gotta take off the little something because they didn't have a Splinter Cell there. But other than having a hope and an expectation for Splinter Cell having been there and it wasn't, if I put that aside, I think Ubisoft had a great show. What you think, Legal?
I think they were decent, man. I think they were decent. It wasn't an overall bad show, man, at all.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. But there's really not too much I could say about Ubisoft other than a couple of the games like Far Cry 6. Giancarlo Esposito, we know this man is a great actor.
Right.
And even when his resemblance, his look is being portrayed by a polygon character, and maybe they filmed him as well, but the voice acting, sometimes I was looking away, looking at my phone,
right,
reading text, and I could hear his voice in the background. Even before I saw him on screen, I happened to be looking at my phone, and I heard his voice. This is an actor. And I think immediately after they showed that trailer, they did have a little spot there where they were speaking with him, and he really broke that down, or it was some kind of interview or something like that. And so the acting was there in the game, and it's not the first villain in a Far Cry game. We know about Voss in Far Cry 3. Everybody loves to mention that. And, so Far Cry 6 looking great. Those of y'all who into dance games, Just Dance was there. Flamish, who was on the show with us on the Dragon's Den, he was calling that out, that's probably coming back, and boom, he hit that right on the head. He was more accurate than any of us were on Splinter Cell, and I really wish I was as accurate about that on Splinter Cell. But yeah, Ubisoft had a good show. But then the banger.
What was that animation show? What was
animation? I keep thinking Rick and Morty, but that's not what you mean.
I forgot.
Oh geez. Oh man. The animation. It was on the Ubisoft thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, you mean Rabbit?
It had the female in it.
Animation with the female. Jeez. What the? I have. No, I don't remember. I don't remember that at all.
It was. It had that. It was animated though. It was animated.
Animated.
I'm trying to look it up while you're talking. I'll try to see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through Newsweek. Okay. Oh yeah, but there's another game I definitely want to talk about. Rainbow Six Extraction. Now Rainbow Six, like it's Rainbow Six in name, right? In terms of like the main mode they showed off, right?
Right.
That's not the Rainbow Six that I know, and yet at the same time, a great game. I don't think they should attach the Rainbow Six name to it, but at the same time, it gives reason for people to look at the game and pay attention to it. So I'm kind of with it and against it, the fact that they gave it the Rainbow Six name. But the game speaks for itself. And I think that was another title that had really good look. And then I also like
because that community in itself is raw, bro. They grew that community and they did very well with that community.
Oh yeah, Rainbow Six has been well over 25 years. It was on it was on the consoles of the time, N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, where it was it was more akin to the SWAT games where you would have a squad of dudes and you would have to plan out a route, to kill terrorists and rescue the hostages and whatnot, and you could mess up your plan and have to start all over again. But by the time Rainbow Six came to Xbox, it was more in line with the Rainbow games we know today, up until this new game, Extraction, which is very different, but keeps the name and still keeps a lot of the elements. But you can see it's a very different game, and that's another reason why they're keeping Rainbow Six Siege still going. And there's also because Siege is very profitable now after all the work they put into it to fix it from its original form. Now they're making this money off of it, so can't really knock that. But I still can't remember that other game you're talking about. But I do also like the fact that this year, they're skipping Assassin's Creed. They're just going to support Valhalla a lot more, and so that's cool. Avatar was another great looking game. I didn't play the first Avatar game, but I like the movie a lot. I saw it twice. I saw the first original version in 3D, and then they had the extended edition. And I've watched that countless times after the fact. So Ubisoft was really, really, really good. I still can't find that animation type of game you're talking about. Because there was the Mario and Rabbids game. That's not really my style. There's not really anything I can really say about that. So I'm just gonna have to leave that alone. They really did do the Watch Dogs DLC. That looked great. There's also Rocksmith. Oh, Riders Republic.
Thunderbird or something like that?
Yeah. Thunderbird or something like that. Yes. It was Thunderbird or something like that. But it looked cool. I remember thinking, yeah, that looks cool. But
the way the animation was on it, man.
Yeah, it definitely looked cool. But I can't really remember too many details. But the one game that I would have felt like an idiot if I didn't remember until I just did was Riders Republic. Okay. Now there's a game that just screams fun. Riding down mountains on bikes and skis or wingsuits with rockets on them. Like, there's a game you take snowboarding games and like SSX and skiing games and stuff, and you bring it into this one crazy, seem like an open world where there probably isn't any kind of real like load times or anything. Even if we didn't have these SSDs on these systems, it just seems the design of the game. You're on this one mountain where everything is there, so there shouldn't be a lot of loading or anything. But with these SSDs, that's definitely not a concern anymore. That game just looks ridiculously fun. Of all the games that I saw that I was hyped for and didn't know anything about it, had no expectations of it, this was the game that really said, yeah, I gotta get that. Definitely gotta get Rainbow. I'm not too heavy into Far Cry, because if I was, I'd get that. I'm not really into Assassin's Creed, but I mean, there's not a new Assassin's Creed. But if you're into any of those series, they all had great updates. For Honor did. The Turtles are in Brawlhalla. That's awesome. That just looks so cool. At first, I kept confusing it with that other Turtles game that's on the horizon, I think from Konami. Right? I was confusing it with that, but it's a totally different game. This is Brawlhalla, which I've never played before, but it's a lot like Smash Brothers.
Right.
But the Turtles seem to fit in perfectly with this game more than they would if they had added them to the Smash Brothers. So that game, that's another game that's looking real fun with the addition of the Turtles. Already a great game. They've taken it up. Ghost Recon, they got an update for it, but I'm not liking these past two Recons, and a lot of people don't like Future Soldier for the multiplayer, but the single player, wow, that was a great. If you look at my Xbox Live achievements, you'll see I beat that game on hard.
There you go.
From the first playthrough too. In fact, the reason I did that was because of Grawl 1 and 2. Grawl 1 was a launch window game, or I think was that launch of it was launch window. I think it happened that spring. Right? And so the difficulty difference between 1 and 2 was such that the second one was basically easier than the first game on normal, and the second game on hard was the same difficulty as the first game on normal. So if you look at my achievements in Graw 2, you'll see that I have achievements from the same date on easy and hard, because you get the achievements for both when you beat the game on hard. When you beat levels on hard, you get the achievements for both, both difficulties.
Right.
You'll see the date matches up. It's the same date and time, because I other than the first level, right? Because that's when I realized the difficulty was way lower, and I went back and played it again.
Right.
Other than that first level, you'll notice that I beat that game on hard to keep the consistency of the difficulty of the first one. So Ghost Recon is something I've been into for a long time. I'm not liking these last two games, but they really did fix a lot of what was wrong with.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Definitely.
Yeah, I
actually like the first one.
They do it, but yeah, they fixed it a lot. They really did. I just want the old school Ghost Recon.
The last one. What was it? Wildlands. I love that one, man.
Yeah, Wildlands. With the first one, and then now is Break. I think.
Right.
That was
beautiful.
Yeah. So overall, Ubisoft had a great show. Like, you're not leaving there disappointed, even if you was hoping for Splinter Cell like I was, and like a lot of us was. They showed you so many other things that even though they did not do that, you're straight. You know what I'm saying? You're straight. So right. Ubisoft, thumbs up for Ubisoft. Then comes the banger. Microsoft.
On it.
Xbox. This is a lot was riding on this. You know, Microsoft had a lot to show and prove. Okay?
Right.
And they did just that. And you know, shout out to who was calling me now? Somebody would call me at the wrong. Oh, excuse me. I gotta answer this phone call because some people don't seem to understand not to call. I'll be right back.
This guy's popular out here, man. Let me get this in for him. Yeah, Sig just had to step out. He had a call. He'll be back. Oh, shout outs to Sig too, wanting to do this show, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Just wants to get some stuff off his chest, man.
Yeah, so
exactly, the office phone. Exactly.
Yeah. Some of us still have phones in their house for reasons. Anyway, so Xbox, like I said, they had a lot to show and prove, and this was the time because you can't say, "Oh, games are coming for only too long." And I don't mean to appease the fanatics, you know, from the other, you know, brands. Man, I'm speaking around it, but you know exactly what I mean. These Sony fanboys, because it's not going to be no Nintendo fans, it's not going to be no PC fans. It's these PlayStation fanatics, the cult of PlayStation. But I'll talk about them later. I have a whole thing I want to talk about with them. So, other than them, everyone thought the Xbox show was great. I thought the Xbox show was great. But it had to be great because no matter how good Microsoft has done since they announced the Xbox Series X, they still had to show and prove with the games.
Right.
Like games coming out this year.
Right.
And we got that. We got a lot of it. And
this year, man. This year.
Yeah. This year games. Okay?
Yeah.
More than Sony has to offer. More than Sony has to offer. As far as we know, because they haven't told us anything. Because they're not at E3. Like, and they're not going to be at Gamescom. And Summer Game Fest, that was corny. Okay, they're trying to do an end run, you know, to take E3 spot. Okay, Sony and EA may not want to be there for whatever selfish reasons they want. But no. E3 is where it's at. This is the time when gamers come together and we want to see what we are going to be enjoying for the next year and a little bit afterwards, right? You know, because there are a lot of games that were announced for 2023 and 2024. But overall, Xbox had to show and prove, and they did exactly that. They showed us lots of games, lots of stuff we didn't know about. You know, they showed what these studios were up to. Not all of them, but enough to show that all that money they spent getting these studios was well spent. And I love how the first thing they showed was Starfield.
They came out the gate with that, right?
They came out the gate with that. And it's not CG, that's in-game engine. Right. Okay? We already knew that Todd from Bethesda, this is his dream game. All the games and things he's made up to this point was in preparation for Starfield. This is why he said a game 25 years in the making. That's how long he's been in this industry doing this stuff. So this is his project, his pet project. And they showed it off. And it's funny how we really don't even know too much about the game. And it shows how desperate these Sony, it's not multi-platform. It's not multi-plat. Phil Spencer made it clear. Xbox and PC exclusive. And I don't know what pathetic fools. Well, actually, I do know now. I understand better now. And shout out to Elite Gaming Guru.
No
now,
doubt.
I've seen him on Twitter, but he has a YouTube channel as well. And he put a name to this, which and I feel like a moron because it's like, duh, it's the perfect word. It's a cult.
Right.
It's a cult. These PlayStation fanatics are a cult. And I don't mean PlayStation fans. This is why I always say fanatics. Not PlayStation fans fans who choose PlayStation, but don't make excuses for them. Okay? These people exist. Okay? So the PlayStation side did not get past the denial stage. No, they still didn't. Because there's still all the ponies all the donkeys are still out there.
Right.
Still trying to spin stuff. VG 24/7 tried to say all types of wild stuff, how Xbox didn't match up to Sony this E3. Sony isn't even at this E3, first off. Like, I don't know, but it just goes to show what press outlets you should be looking at and should not.
There you go. But you know what?
VG 24/7 is not one of them to be paying attention to.
Exactly, Sick. But you know what, man? I'm done with all the look. Man, this stuff is just silly. I think the gaming industry, and not even that. The gaming industry has shown its silliness. It's not even serious anymore. But
it's not even so much industry. I
expect more out of the gaming streets. But man, we're like just as silly for accepting the silliness.
Yeah.
It's like we're accepting it. So you can't. So it's like you pick and choose who you're hating, but you're hating the same silly stuff. Like that's stupid. Like you hate this guy, but then you look at this guy who's just as silly. So it doesn't matter. You're dissing one, but looking at the other one that does the same thing as the one you're dissing. You're stupid. Like you're like
the hypocrisy shows up.
Right. And it's like following and likes doesn't measure up stupidity. Stupidity is not a measurement thing. If you hit stupidity, you hit it. It doesn't matter where it comes from. But I think people get caught up into people's hype. They get caught up into accepting, we accept him for being dumb because he's built an empire of being dumb. He's got 36,000 followers being dumb, so we accept that. But we don't accept this dude over here with 500 subs being dumb. Where's the logic at? Dumb is dumb, bro.
Logic enters the equation when it comes to this stuff. That's for sure.
Right. YouTube has become a who's popular being the dumbest, or who's popular playing with the feelings the most, or
it's social media in general. Yeah.
Right. Who can I coattail link up with to feel important? That's where we're at now. We're not about the gamers, because the only way you're gonna get the truths out of anything is dealing with the gamers. It's not about me on Di-RRec Gaming. It's about what Sick has to say. Di-RRec Gaming is just a platform we use. It's just so happens to be that it's something I created, but I created for the gaming streets to use it. It's a portal. It's not something. We're growing this thing together from the street level. We're growing this thing together. And if Sick hits me up and was like, hey man, I got a lot on my chest, bro. We need to set a time. I want to bust these streets open. I got to get some things off my chest. I'm going to be there for him. This is really a SIKSLAYER show. It's live from the streets. Just so happens to be on Di-RRec Gaming. Who cares? It is what it is. I'm representing the Xbox community. I'm not representing my channel. I'm representing the Xbox community. You get it? Because without the community, it's nothing anyway. People are using their platforms in a way that's not humbling. They're making their platform to mean something when it doesn't mean anything, because you're not making your platform. The people are making your platform. And we should be dedicated by any means necessary to echo them. It's not about what I'm thinking. It's what they're thinking. And our goal is to try to address that. Let's see what's going on out here. Let's see where all the ruckus is at. And let's make a show about what's going on. Let's reflect the community. That's how our show should be, because we're gamers. It shouldn't be the New Legal Show and what New Legal's got to say. Who cares what I got to say? I'm just one person. Who cares? You know, but if you're voicing the community, you're voicing the community, whether you agree with them or not, right? That's the true essence of a gaming community. That's the true essence of a gaming community, Sik.
Yeah.
But see,
and it just goes to show. Yeah, social media has made it a thing. It's more of a cult now. And this is why Elite Gaming Guru, when he used the word, and he probably used it before in previous videos, and it didn't click with me until today. I was watching one of his videos. I think his most recent one. Okay. And he used the word cult, and it explains, it's just like, oh, of course, they're a cult. That's what it really is. Because I mean, I'm sorry. I saw the Microsoft press conference. You saw the Microsoft press conference, Legal. Most people who listen to my voice right now saw the Microsoft press conference. There is no way you can say that was a bad press conference. They did what they had to do. They showed games, real gameplay, exclusive games. Everything you donkeys said they weren't going to do, or if they didn't, you were going to call it out.
Right.
You know, you guys are always so quick to say something or find something to make a meme of. The Microsoft conference ended Sunday. It's Tuesday now. It's been 2 days now. Don't see no crazy memes.
No, they
don't see nothing.
Defeated.
Most of y'all donkeys are pretty quiet, except for the biggest names and a couple of clowns in the press who keep trying to allude to certain things, except for VG 24/7 who went full retard, and you're not supposed to go full retard. Okay, they went all in with just straight crap. Like, I don't even understand how these people could sit here and say what Microsoft produced at E3 this past Sunday wasn't any good. That's just absurd.
Not when they want our games.
Yeah. And they still want our games. They're still acting like somehow, some way, Starfield.
It's crazy, ain't it? Speak on.
Yeah. That somehow, some way, Starfield will come to PlayStation. Listen, if it comes 6 years from now on the PlayStation, you guys still lost. It's not the point. You're going to try and comfort yourselves by saying, oh, 5 or 6 years later, it shows up. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. That's not going to happen either. That's not going to happen. Because here's what the option they give you. You know what you could do? You could buy Xbox, right? You could buy a PC. Or you could play it on xCloud. Well, not on your PlayStation because they took away the web browser. But apparently, the main thing you guys use that for was Pornhub. So, hey, and don't start saying, oh, no, I'm being salty or whatever. It's not my fault if you Google it right now. One of the top browsers on Pornhub was the PlayStation browser. Okay? If the PS5 had a browser, right, and xCloud wasn't being blocked by Sony with their browser, which I bet you they would. But let's say they didn't block it or anything, right?
Right.
I guarantee you one of the top browsers running on xCloud would be the PS5 browser if it had one. Okay? And it makes a lot of sense what I'm saying, right? You know why? Because after all the talking, you guys still want what you can't have. Starfield is Xbox and PC exclusive. You will never have it on PlayStation. You don't even have a browser to run around it to get it through xCloud. You have nothing. You have nothing. You don't have the game. Sony tried to do their same old, same old. They tried to buy exclusivity, not so much because it makes their platform look better, but because it makes the other competing platforms look worse. Not because you've earned it or the developer said who should put it on this platform, but no, you pay for it so the other platform wouldn't have it, right? And even though that situation is done with, there's still some of these crazy fanatics, these cult. I don't even know, even the word crazy sounds like it's insufficient to describe you people at this point now. You're still trying to find ways to spin it. Still, it's not happening. And the fact that you want it that bad validates what Microsoft is doing. It validates the purchase of ZeniMax and Bethesda and everything that was under ZeniMax. Xbox is doing everything they need to do. Okay? The biggest FPS game of the year, Battlefield 2042. They showed the gameplay on the Xbox stage, but we saw the game, right? No. We saw the gameplay there, but we saw a trailer or something. Wasn't it a week before we saw something about Battlefield, like a trailer or something like that?
I think so.
Like beforehand, but the gameplay was at the Microsoft
I didn't see it
conference, or am I getting that one detail wrong? Because
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they had shown the game off for like a trailer or something, but they didn't show the gameplay. But the gameplay was at the Microsoft conference. Right. So, like, Microsoft showed, and we know Microsoft and EA has that special relationship, but it's not special enough where the PC isn't going to get Battlefield, where the PlayStation isn't going to get Battlefield, where if the Switch was powerful enough, it too would have it. It's just not powerful enough. Okay, thanks you, Sakati. Yeah, it was like 5 days before they showed a trailer, but the gameplay was on the Xbox stage.
Right.
Okay? And Call of Duty's past were on the Xbox stage.
Right.
Recently, they were on PlayStation. Some of the worst Call of Duties in the franchise were during the PlayStation tenure. Okay? And a lot of those games were actually great when they came to the single player, like Infinite Warfare. A lot of y'all didn't even touch that game because when they first marketed it, they packaged in the remake of Modern Warfare 1 into the special edition of that game, and that was the most downvoted video in YouTube history at that point. So a lot of y'all never even played that game. That's the one game I could say through last generation that was actually really good that a lot of y'all missed out on, but it just goes to show Microsoft's conference was awesome. EA doesn't have a conference, but they're planning to do something, I think, at the Summer Game Fest or whatever later on this summer. Okay? So the next one we could talk about, Stalker 2. Yes, yeah, I do want to talk about Stalker 2 because Stalker needs to have respect put on its name, because I've mentioned this before. When people talk about Crysis, everybody knows what Crysis was, not only as a game,
oh man, can you
but
stop
the technology, the engine, all that stuff. Yeah.
Can we stop right there for a minute, man?
Mm-hmm.
And let's give some props to Crysis 1, 2, and 3, the trilogy remastered. So if you've already played the Crysis remastered, you're gonna get the trilogy.
Yes,
you're gonna get the trilogy just for the sake of it. So if you have the originals like I do, you know what? You know what, Sick? You got me hyped, bro. I've been on this Biomutant, and I'm actually thinking about getting done with Biomutant, going straight to Cry.
Okay, you know something I want to say about Biomutant?
Crysis 1, 2, and 3, and get ready for the remaster.
I got Crysis 1, and in fact, I even broke my own rule and bought it off the Epic Store on PC because it was on sale for like
$10.
$10. And they had fixed some problems with it that original. But as a PC player, the Epic Store is bad for gaming, I feel, and a lot of PC gamers are with that, and we don't like the Epic Store for that reason. But I broke my own rule and bought that for $10. It was on sale because they had fixed a lot of major issues with that game. But yeah, the Crysis trilogy, thank God that's coming. It's unfortunate it's not coming with the multiplayer from the second and third one, particularly the second one.
Yeah, I ain't getting the game for no multiplayer, but definitely, man.
Yeah, but Crysis, ooh, yeah. But
that got me going, man. That got me going. Go ahead, bro.
Right, but the reason I bring up Crysis is we all know what Crysis has done for technology in gaming.
It's a living legend.
It's a living legend.
It is.
But another game that was alongside that was Stalker and Metro. Metro gets more of its due diligence nowadays, right? Metro does, particularly because they've made more games. But Stalker is one that's been slept on. Stalker did exactly what Crysis and Metro did for their time. They pushed the technology. They pushed the graphics. They pushed everything. They made people buy PCs that still couldn't run those games at full tilt. Crysis Original, still to this day on today's technology, because it's not multi-thread. That was the main improvement of the remaster, right? Because that game is so old, they should just be able to run it on a stock Xbox One with no drama, but because of the way it was programmed, it was so futuristic, for lack of a better term. They had to remaster it and recode it to get it to work right, unlike the second and third ones that were more modern in those techniques that they used. You know, on the first Crysis was like the forebearer, and the second and third, you know, did it the way we know it today. But back to Stalker. Stalker 2 looks insane. If you've liked the Metro games, if you've liked Crysis, Stalker is a must play. And Stalker 2 is looking as good a single player as Crossfire X is looking. And I know y'all have seen Crossfire X. I've spoken on it many times on many shows. That's one of the single player FPS games I'm looking forward to, and now I have a third one to go along with it.
They don't want to see that game. Stalker, they don't want to see that one.
Right, and there's Crossfire X. 3 games that are awesome. And dude, listen, Halo Infinite, listen. Like I said earlier, the Sony fanatics have no memes, nothing. Halo destroyed. Absolutely. Even people in the Xbox community who may or may not like the direction in the Halo franchise, particularly with the 5th one and the 4th one in recent years, or just in general when 343 Industries took over the franchise from Bungie, right? There's a lot of people who were complaining about the direction that Halo was going. All of those people, and I know folks who have had concerns, right? Those concerns are gone, or at least greatly reduced. There's at least one person who has a couple of concerns, but they were always fair concerns, and those are gone now. And now he only has a couple of nitpicks here and there. Other than that, I don't know anybody who has something negative to say about Halo Infinite. There's nothing you can say.
I really don't care. I really don't care if they do.
I mean, but you can't, because it exposes you like a fraud, like VG 24/7 did. If you say something bad about what they showed on Sunday with Halo Infinite, you're a clear fraud, 100% fraud. That game looks terrific. Can you have a couple of concerns here and there? Sure, but to paint it as a negative, even by a little bit, means you're a fraud. There is no way. This is not about opinion now. Now it's just straight fact. What they showed blows nuts off. It just was awesome. Okay? So there's a couple other games. Diablo 2 Remaster. Now that's the PC game, right? I don't think it's coming to console like that. I forget if it is or isn't, because one of these games is PC exclusive to Game Pass. It's not coming to consoles, and I think it was Diablo, but I could be wrong about that. Age of Empire 4. Now, there's another game I've mentioned before. My brother loves that game. It comes out on my birthday, but that's the game I'm getting for him. He doesn't have an Xbox. He plays, PC games, Age of Empire, Empire Earth, RTS games in general are his bag, right? So this is a game on my birthday I have to get for my older brother. This is a game he's definitely gonna enjoy. What other game did Xbox really show that I wanted to mention? Oh, Psychonauts 2.
Yes, sir. Speak on it.
Beautiful game. I'm not even into the first one like that. I'm really not. It was a cool game, but this new one? What?
You're right.
I had a friend with me who was watching the press conference with me, and she likes what's that game? Actually, not a game. It's a movie.
Coraline. And Coraline. Yeah, my daughter's
in Nightmare on Elm Street. Right. She loves those films, right? And films that have that
film. Yeah.
Right.
It was an animated film, right?
Right, but it was with stop motion.
Yeah, it kind of looked like Tim Burton kind of animation.
Yeah, it was Tim Burton style, I think. But Tim Burton did a couple films with that style, and then it's gone on. But dude, Psychonauts, if you like that style, and she does, as soon as she saw it, she was like, "Oh, I want to play that." My boyfriend has an Xbox, and I'm like, "It's on Game Pass." It's on Game Pass? Oh, I don't even have to spend a dime to play it. That's her first thought, right? And we've spoken about Game Pass left and right, but it just goes to show someone who's not too heavy into gaming, she likes certain types of films, and she could see the art style in the game. Now she wants to play the game. And as soon as she sees the Game Pass logo, she already knows what's up because of her boyfriend, who's an Xbox gamer who has Game Pass. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was my Alexa this time. Anyway,
man.
I always got something ringing in the background, I guess, huh?
Facts.
But yeah, Psychonauts 2. Mwah. Beautiful. I'm not even really into it, but the art and all of that, it just goes to show that looked great. Is there anything else that... Oh, okay. Next, Forza. And once again, blowing nuts off as Forza always does. So there's not too much I have to say about that. Other than, here's another example of these stupid donkeys trying to spin something into a negative. Let me make this clear for you morons. Forza Horizon has been doing 4K 30 for as long as Xbox has been doing 4K 30. Horizon is more arcade and less simulation. So you might think, yeah, that means 60, and I could see that part of the equation. Yes. But they always did 4K 30. And one of the developers has made it clear his real name is in his profile. So because I've seen, once again, these crazy donkeys out here trying to spin the words with fake tweets. When you look at the real tweets, his real name is there. You can cross-verify who said this. The game is also going to have a 4K 60 mode. Just like they did for Horizon 4 when the Xbox One X came out. They went back and they added a 60 frame mode. Did they not?
You're right.
And it also works like that on the Series X. But the Series X being a more powerful system, that was less of a thing to do because it was really made for the One X, and this was an update that they did to get it to 4K 60 now. But this game was made for the series consoles, and yet it still has a 60 hertz mode, right? And that's another example of these stupid donkeys trying once again to try to spin something into a negative. I don't know how you could do that, because you know what? Forza Horizon 5 will be out before Gran Turismo. The next proper Forza game, which should be Forza 8 now, right? Will probably be out before Gran Turismo. There's a reason Gran Turismo is on 7 with no side games like Forza has, right? And Forza is up to 8 with this next one. Horizon is on 5. Forza has surpassed Gran Turismo a long time ago. And I come from the roots of Gran Turismo. I have the first one The second one, I still have the original copy of the second one that has a bug in it. Okay, if y'all even remember that, there was a bug in the game where they recalled the original printing of Gran Turismo 2, right? Because there was something with the save or something like that. I still have that version. Okay, it's not sealed because I was actually playing my games. I didn't buy it just to have it because it was rare or whatever. I played it and didn't want to get rid of it. I rebought the game again with the fixes and kept the old version. Okay, so when I say what I say about Gran Turismo, it's not because I'm pro Xbox and anti PlayStation. It's because it's the facts. Forza long since has surpassed Gran Turismo. And this Gran Turismo is going to be on PC. Yet another reason for me not to buy a PS5. Not in the state it's in right now anyway. So, Akoski, you asked a question at the perfect time. There's like a perfect transit. I swear to God, he asked, what's Sony's plan post 2022? Hopes and dreams?
Right.
Hopes and dreams? What the hell? It's a reboot, so it doesn't have a number. Oh, that's right. It's not called Forza 8, but I'm going to refer to it as such so everybody knows what I'm talking about. Okay? So, yeah, it is a reboot. He is right about that, Vodka. You're right about that. But, just so people don't get confused, it's the 8th one, right? That's right. Already more than Gran Turismo. I guarantee you, this new Forza will be out before Gran Turismo 7, right? Because Gran Turismo always gets delayed. They just recently delayed it early this year. And I kept telling people, that's not even a loss for Sony. No. Xbox fans who want to dig on Sony, listen, there's enough to dig on Sony about. We can leave this one alone because they always delay Gran Turismo. And, it's just like what will happen with Halo. We see the work they put in with the extra time. Same thing with Gran Turismo. I'm going to leave that alone. You don't need to go there and make narratives, and joke about stuff. The facts are enough, okay? Forza outdid Gran Turismo with less games. It took them less time to do it, and now they're way ahead of them. So, yeah, Sony, you got a lot to worry about. I feel like I'm missing at least one or two major games that were at the Microsoft E3 conference that because it's just so many games now. It's hard to okay, there's one thing I want to mention at the end there, but I'm gonna leave it for the end. But geez, I feel like I'm forgetting something that needs to be mentioned.
The chat is lit right now, man. The chat is over here telling the truth.
No doubt.
Man, and all kind of comments came back in, and the chat is on lit.
Okay,
Stick, you're doing a good job, Dick. Keep going, bro. You're doing a good job.
Back for Blood. Oh my God, looking great. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, I don't care. I probably won't ever play it myself. But that's
Sid, give me one second. We like to pause for a station of identification for the chat, man. Akasi, man, I really appreciate that, man. I really do. To the chat room, that you guys, man, y'all already know what y'all mean to me, man. Like y'all already know. And like I said, man, from day one, and as a matter of fact, I want to tell everybody today that I did man, guess who I heard from today? Knowledge, man. I actually heard from Knowledge today. He had a new number. He sent me a picture of him with his mask on. It was an Xbox mask. As a matter of fact, it was dope. We had some laughs, man. And for all those who don't know who Knowledge is, man, Knowledge is the guy who actually built my PC. You can check it out in the early days of Di-RRec Gaming Channels. He came over to the house, built it right there. I recorded it. I saw it all, man. I saw how this dude put everything together. And so, man, I finally got a hold of him. I hadn't heard from him in months, man. In months, almost a year. But the guy's busy, man. He's heavy in the gaming industry, man. And I just want to give him shout out to him, and then shout out to the chat room, each and every last one of y'all that make this channel what it is, and to SIKSLAYER as well. You bombing, man. You're interesting. Everything you saying, bro. Hey, man, you a one-man army, bro. You holding the fort down live from the streets.
Man, you're making it easy for me because all I gotta do here is speak. You provide the platform. All I gotta do is speak. So
I'm trying to tell you, Sick. Tell them. That's all it is. I'm a fan. Let me tell y'all what I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of y'all. I love doing this, man. This is, bro. This doesn't have to be expensive, y'all. You know, and I'm grateful, Sick, right? Because I know I'm baritone. I know I have a passion in my voice. I know I'm a little loud. I know I'm a little hype, but that's who I am. That's who I am. So I know for everybody that puts up with me, they put up with me, man, because they love it. You know, it's not something watered down, Sick. You just don't get this everywhere. You know, you just don't get it everywhere, man. So that's what I saw in you, Sick. You're very animated with passion. You got a deep way of delivering with your Xbox knowledge, and man, like I said, bro, it's always a pleasure and an honor to kick it with you, man, all the time, bro.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, yo, I don't know about you guys, but I play games, and I've been here for a long time playing games on this earth, and there's few things that are better. But I mean, this gaming industry is bigger than music and
like actually having a date and the night ends well. That's one thing that I noticed.
Few things exist, but yeah, there's a couple out there. That juice box is pretty nice too, but we'll leave that alone. Hey, shout out to 100, man. I love that term when he says that, man. It always puts a smile on my face. But okay, speaking of another game that it's not for me, but because I'm so tired of zombies, so beyond tired of zombies. I don't care how interesting it is. If it's got zombies in it, or it's already a pass for me. But I can still respect what it is. Back 4 Blood. This is by the same developers of Left 4 Dead. Okay? Back 4 Blood looks so dope. And I'm tired of zombies. I'm not going to play this game because I'm so tired of zombies. But if you're not tired of it, if you're
like me, I'm not tired of zombies. Let's go.
Back 4 Blood will be perfect for you. And here's another game. And here's another game. And here's another game that I haven't played, have no plans on playing, but it's about to get a major update this month on the 22nd, right? Which is like what? Next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, a week from now. And there's already over 20 million people playing it. Here's another game that validated itself. So all these donkeys out here who's talking crap, Sea of Thieves. Now they're partnered up with Disney, with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and it seems to fit in so perfectly. Jack Sparrow, voiced by the man himself.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. And the fact that they announced that, bro, that means that, okay, they got Johnny Depp to portray him, and there's other actors in the game, the characters that are from the movie. I don't know if they reprise the roles in the game besides just Johnny Depp, but Microsoft and Disney, this could just be the beginning, because this is something pretty easy for Microsoft and Disney to do, right?
Akasi's right, Sick. Back 4 Blood is one of those. See, Microsoft is using their head, right?
Yeah.
Akasi's right, because there's certain games that are gonna see when you have a service. This is what the donkeys don't understand is what's making Game Pass so great. You have to know certain type of games to put on your service. It's not just about, okay, for instance, we've had our growing pains, right, with Game Pass. Sorry, Sig, hold your thought.
No, it's cool. Perfect.
We had our growing pains. And see, that's what people don't understand. Game Pass is almost 4 years old. It'll be 4 years old another year. This thing has already went through its growing pain, right? And it went through it quickly. I mean, it didn't take long. And I'm going to tell y'all what made it just go quickly. In the beginning, I wasn't jumping up and down for Game Pass because of the games that were on it.
Right. Me too.
Right? I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah. All right, I'll get $9.99. Whatever. I'll get it next month or whatever. But I would get it and I wouldn't renew it. I would bounce around with it. But they started putting those games on there. They started doing those day ones. They started putting those certain kind of engagement games on it.
Yeah, and then if you were still trying to hold the line, toe the line, then they did the thing.
Oh, Akosi. Okay. Akosi. Forgive us.
Akosi. I'm sorry about that. If I pronounce your name incorrectly.
Right. Our pronunciations are off. We try to do the best we can on Di-RRec Gaming. Forgive us.
But yeah, when they merge Game Pass with your Live, right? And then they put it on Xbox and PC, where it's all in one. It's one service you pay, right? And what they did was they gave you that, quick early piece where you convert, if you have any Xbox Live months left over, you convert them all for $1. Once they did that, it was a wrap. I had to have Game Pass. I'm already paying for Xbox Live. Game Pass continued to be more and more interested in it, and I never jumped in. But that was the line where, no, if you're on Xbox, you got to have Game Pass. It doesn't matter if you cap for physical games
you have to
or whatever.
You have to now.
You have to, because not every game is on disc. Not every game is worth being on disc. It's like, why would you buy Destiny on disc? It's an online game. One day in the future, when they shut down the servers, the disc is worthless. And what's on the disc isn't even up to date anyway, right? But that goes in general for physical games. But there are some games where it doesn't matter if you have the most recent update pack, like, let's say R-Type or something, right? The core game is on the disc, you're good to go. That's cool, right? So I'm not speaking against, those people who are into physical and don't want to leave that. Okay, fine. Game Pass doesn't really answer that. But if you don't mess with physical games and you still like to be out here saying, oh, I want to buy my games, you should still be on Game Pass. Because why? 20% off. Duh. Look at Battlefield.
Right.
A lot of people talking about Battlefield doesn't have a single player and blah, blah, blah. But Battlefield 1942 didn't have a single player. Battlefield 2 and also its expansions, which I still own, all the boxes of them, the DVD version, not the CD versions that were like 6 or 7 CDs back then, right? I still own those. When Battlefield 2142 didn't have a single player. Battlefield didn't have a single player until, and I mean a real one, because Battlefield 2 Modern Combat on the Xbox was just you jumping in between certain soldiers at press of a button, but that was you against the computer, your army versus the computer army, and you could jump between people to control the army because it was just a single player game. That's not really a campaign type of game. So Battlefield didn't really have a campaign until the Bad Company games. So why it's a problem now, I don't know. But that seems to be across the gaming landscape. It's not PlayStation only or Xbox only, although I don't really see PC gamers caring one bit about that detail. But I just want to put that out there. Listen, I understand you want value for what you're paying for, but the equation isn't, for example, the FPS game like Battlefield, where you have to have a single player, a multiplayer, and a co-op for it to be worth MSRP. MSRP is worth it if...
Speak on it.
If in the end, they provide you with entertainment worth the amount you're paying for. And Battlefield clearly shows why it's worth $70 or more. If Sony had more games like that, Xbox guys wouldn't be giving crap to PlayStation guys about the quality of their games. You PlayStation donkeys would say with a straight face that your games are worth the $70. Because y'all give that answer back, but you're not saying it with a straight face. I see the arguments and the lies and the bullshit that you say on Twitter. You're not saying it with a straight face. Those games that you're buying aren't worth $70. And it's proven by the fact that y'all get mad to a new level that I've never seen with death threats and everything, because these games are coming to PS4 and PC. If what you said was true, then you wouldn't be mad at those things either. But it just goes to show you're mad that you have to spend $70 for the games, and they're going to be another platform that potentially might cost less money. So or the platform that you love to root for has less value to it. I just want to put that out there where, people are talking about the price with Battlefield and stuff, but also Game Pass has 20% off when you buy games that are on Game Pass. So even if you like to buy and own your games, but you mess with digital, if you're on Xbox, you better have Game Pass if you like saving money. Whatever excuse you want to give, unless you're on the physical tip. That I can understand, because that Game Pass can't answer. I get that. But if you're not with that and you download your games, be on Game Pass, because you can still buy your games for 20% off, where the game developer is getting the money too up front, because you bought the game on Game Pass for the 20% off. I don't know who doesn't like to save money. I don't know when it became a thing to be proud of paying more money for something than the next guy. Okay? But hey, that's some donkey logic for you, not my logic. I'm a sensible person as far as I've been told. Okay? You seem to be a sensible person there. You know? The chat seems to be sensible people. And if there weren't sensible, and if there were people who are not sensible in the chat, I can't see you because I've already done blocked you a long time ago. I'm seeing nothing but sensible people in the chat. I'm talking with a sensible person. People tell me I'm a sensible person. And you know what sensible people do? You don't spend more than we have to for something. Okay? So we'll just put that out there. So there's a couple more games I want to talk about real quick. The Outer Worlds 2. I love that trailer. That reminds me of during the Xbox One launch, what they did for Dead Rising 3. And they gave that crazy name, Street Fighter 2012, something. It had that long name.
Right.
Bro, that was hilarious. That whole intro. Like, and as soon as it started getting more and more fun, I'm like, oh, that has to be the Outer Worlds 2. So the Outer Worlds 2.
That was big, man. That was big.
Oh, yeah. Flight Simulator, bro. You could hear my excitement when they tied in the Top Gun franchise to that.
The F-22s, man. The F-22s. Come on, man.
Oh, boy. Let me tell you. I've spoken many times about Ace Combat and Project Wingman on PC, and also the Star Wars game, Star Wars Squadrons, which I haven't played as much, but equally love those other two games. So I'm into the flight games, flight combat. And Flight Simulator isn't flight combat, but also you must understand, I used to be a licensed aircraft mechanic. I went to aviation high school. I had a licensed airframe and power plant.
Di-RRec gaming, man. Listen to this.
Go Google it. It's in Queens. I went there. I worked at American Airlines. So aviation is a love that I have, and Flight Simulator expresses that love of flight. That wonderment that you see when you're in this game, it's like none other. And they're gonna add the Top Gun franchise into this, bro.
It's dope, man. It's dope, man.
Bro. But another game that was real interesting, and it's not for me per se. This is not a game I'm gonna play. But when you try to introduce someone to games, right? So I was talking about before about Psychonauts. Here's another game that she looked at and was like, oh, that seemed nice. 12 minutes. James McAvoy, Willem Dafoe, Daisy Ridley. So they have real actors in this, but this is a game, it's kind of like a loop. Every 12 minutes it loops or whatever. It seemed very interesting. Okay? This is the type of game you can show off to a non-gamer.
Right.
And they might be, and just by watching the trailer, because that's what happened with my friend who was here. She watched the trailer as we were watching the press conference together. She was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I might mess with that. And you need games like that. Microsoft showed a couple of games like that, but this is one of the games that I had to mention just off bat because it looked real cool. One other game that they show at the very, very, very end, right? Redfall from Arcane, the same team that did Dishonored and Prey, but now you're fighting against vampires. And the arts, okay, the one black chick, you know how she had the power with the elevator, it's all in purple? Dude, that reminds me, this chick has got to be from New Orleans or whatever, that character, right? And you could tell by, her hair and her power with the elevator, but the style of elevator they use, because they have a lot of those, classic ones out there in New Orleans, right? So you could tell that game looked great. And I'm sure there's many other games I'm forgetting to mention, right? But there's one thing I'm not going to forget. But I had forgotten about it and didn't expect to see it there, and it wasn't a game. It was after, not the credits rolled or whatever, but when everybody thought it was all over, forget a one more thing. It just happens out of nowhere. When the music is playing and they're like, thank you for coming out and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, one more trailer. World premiere. The Xbox mini fridge. I want one. I don't know about you guys, but I wanted one. I wanted a mini fridge before they announced the Xbox mini fridge in the first place, right? And when they announced it, I was like, oh yeah. But the fact that it's coming out this holiday already, really? I didn't, and I like how they did it. It was when everybody thought it was over. When everybody thought it was over, that's when they started playing it. That's when they started playing it. I was just like, oh snap. You guys are hilarious. And FaZe, yeah, just the desperation on the Sony fans. Because usually they have to stretch the truth, right? To make their bogus claims, right? But now they have to stretch it so far. And it's been a year and a half of slowly, bit by bit, their narratives being destroyed one by one until there are none now, right? And so when they try to stick with the crap, like Xbox has no games. Well, apparently Xbox has all the games and one of Sony's games, right? Because we have MLB.
Right.
And if we're on Game Pass, we're getting it for free while you guys are paying a minimum of $70. And this is a sports game, which means that's just the base price. And who usually gets the base version of a sports game? I don't even play sports games like that. But even I know most people don't get the base game. So it's not a $70 game. It's more like an $80, $90 game off bat. Us Xbox fans.
You want to know what's funny about the mini fridge? The mini fridge even had a release date this year.
Yeah, this year. That's right.
Everything. And I told everybody this year. We ain't going to be none of this next year stuff. Oh, delayed, this and that, delayed, and no, it's not coming out. Look, I won my bet. Y'all don't even have to put nothing in the pot. I told you I was overly confident, and that's that. I won my bet. All y'all take an L. Take an L with a smile, man. Just be happy about it, man. And move on. And just move on. Go play Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
4 more times. Even 5 more times. Tell me how much that cartoon game is the best looking game you've ever seen in your life. Enjoy your platform. The only problem I have is you hating on greatness, real greatness over here. Right? You're hating on real greatness over here. And it seems like you're not really happy with what they gave you. You know, hey, listen, you've been playing on PlayStation platform for a very long time. You should be used to Ratchet and Clank by now. That's your 16th installment. 16th, okay, of doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's cool that it has a little load time thing.
And that's cool. Now you have no time to wait around. Right. I find nothing negative. You know, I find nothing negative. The thing with me is, when y'all were talking, I was yarning. I was just yarning. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's what it is. I was yarning. And because y'all do a lot of that talking, y'all really define why I never had a PlayStation. Not playing the same games. Y'all play the same games over and over. You know what? Sony, get new IPs, man.
Yeah.
You want to now? Right.
Because when they say Halo, Forza, and Gears, now it's because now it's Gran Turismo, God of War, Ratchet, the same old stuff. You know, just like Nintendo has Mario and Zelda and Metroid, right?
Right.
Halo has Halo. Microsoft has Halo, Gears, Forza.
But
Sony has the ones that are in the 18th installments. Yeah.
Right. You want to know what's crazy?
IPs, that's Sony.
Right.
And Nintendo.
You want to know what's crazy? The reason why you can't put Nintendo in that category is because Nintendo's iconic.
No, I got smoke for them later, so I'm gonna just let that live. You can say what you want. I got smoke for them later.
Right. Of course they're not. Look, they're not immune to smoke.
Oh,
Let me get that clear. Let me get that clear. They're not immune to smoke. But let me draw a fine, thin line. I'm not going to say, oh, look at Nintendo for making another Mario Brothers game.
Right.
That's an iconic mascot. There's a difference between an iconic mascot and a wannabe. 16 installments. And look, there's no Mario Brothers Part 16 anywhere. Think about how long Nintendo's been out. And I'm talking about not Mario Brother games, not what you call them, side games. We're not talking about, we're talking about the series. When it comes to the series, there's only 3. Think about it. It's only Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. There is no.
And also to add to that, legal. By the way, sorry for getting here kind of late. Last minute stuff.
Fire boss.
But yeah, what's going on, Sick? But yeah, but to add to that, because it's funny you brought that up. To add to that is also, let's also think about it as far as Mario goes.
Right.
You know, Mario is literally always expected. Every time there's new hardware, new Mario is expected.
Right.
And that new Mario always innovates and pushes, you know, what shows what the hardware is.
Look at their new Mario right now. Look at their new Mario right now. They never got that before. Look what they just did. Look what they just did. Just like with Zelda.
That points out another thing too. That points out the second part. What you're going at right there, legal. That points out the second part.
Right.
Is every time there's a new Mario, what does Nintendo do?
Right.
They change up and innovate the formula a bit.
That's right.
Ratchet and Clank,
there's no change.
It's the same. Yeah.
Right. And plus, you have no iconic mascot. So you guys are getting the same things over and over and over and over and over again.
And so they had a mascot. That's what's so disappointing. They had Crash. And what they do with Crash? They booted Crash to the bushes.
But Crash couldn't have, but think about it, boss. Crash couldn't be their mascot because they never owned him. He's Activision. This is what
no. When Crash first came on the scene, no, it wasn't Activision that owned him. It was I think it was Naughty Dog, I think, wasn't it?
I don't believe so. Let me check. Let me check. Y'all can keep talking. I'm checking it. Go ahead.
But yeah, if you don't mind, I would pull that up right now. My browser's kind of acting a little fruity right now.
Yeah, I didn't want to even remove the tab or whatever.
Okay. All right. Here's what it was. All right, here's what it was, y'all. In the beginning, credit to boss. I get you. And I get me as well. But you know, we were in our, you know, we were younger people, you know, we were in our teens and stuff when this was going on. The stuff that I'm about to say today isn't something that we indulged in as gamers. We just played these games. The knowledge comes after that, right? So during this span, okay, it's a span of publishers. Nobody's wrong here, as what I'm about to see. But watch this. It was owned by Sony Computer Entertainment from 1996 to 2000. So that's where you saw that at, boss. That's where we all saw that at. When Crash first jumped on the scene, they actually were owned by Sony. So as a matter of fact, that backs me up as to who started these console wars in the 90s. It was Sony once again. And they used Crash to try to get rid of Mario. But they held him for 4-year hostage. They had him for 4 years, right? Then Activision had him. No, I'm sorry. Then Universal Interactive got him from 2001 to 2003. So they had him for only 2 years. And then the latest one is Activision, which had him from, then Vivendi Games had him from 2004 to 2008.
Yeah. I forgot about them.
Yeah, Vivendi Universal.
Yeah.
Right. And then Activision from 2008 to present. That's where I'm aware of. So you was right, I'm right. Plus there's what, two more ownerships in there with Universal Interactive and Vivendi Games. So that's right. So Crash has been tossed around.
Yep.
That Joe been handing off like a spliff.
Right, there you go. Sony gave him away. Now watch this. Sony gave him away.
Yep.
So they didn't even believe in him. There you go. They had a chance to actually make something. You're right. And you want to know what's funny, y'all? Is throughout all those years, damn, Sony, you donkeys are dumb. All those years, y'all were saying it was Sony's game. All those years. We wasn't saying that. Y'all was saying that. So y'all was out here making y'all selves look dumb all this time. Because I remember when Crash came to Xbox, they lost their minds. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Lost their minds. They got mad. What you getting mad at? The game didn't belong to you. Damn, y'all stupid, man. Keep going, Sick. Golly, man.
Yeah. What other game I was gonna mention? Oh no, I mentioned the last game I wanted to mention, but the other thing is, okay, so we're talking about Game Pass, and that was a good segue because see, Game Pass, now they're at a point where, and you know, a lot of us already knew this because we've been paying attention, but every month, Game Pass is gonna have a major title release, and they're already at a point where they're gonna have like 2 major titles every month. Okay, like if it's not a Halo or a Gears or Forza, hint, hint, hint. Okay, there's all these other games, Psychonauts, God knows what else we don't even know about that will just all of a sudden be on Game Pass out of nowhere. That wasn't planned to originally, that they don't even know of now because that's not even the plan yet, right? So it's like when you look at all the stuff that Microsoft is providing, you can't say that there's not a lot to play on Xbox, that Xbox has no games. That narrative went right out the window Sunday. That was forever destroyed. Forever destroyed. It's ironic because they're not at E3, right? They're not at this Summer of Games thing with Jeff. I wanted to take over E3, but it's not going so well.
Facts.
Keely, right? Because Sony isn't going to be on there with them, right? So they're not going to be at Gamescom, like I said at the beginning of the show. So when are they going to be at any event where they show off games? Because here's the thing: 2 E3s ago, right? They didn't show too much. I think all they really did was have a dude playing on a flute, and this is when they were showing off Ghost of Tsushima, right? And then they moved everybody to this other place where somebody was playing a guitar or whatever to show The Last of Us 2. And that was a whack E3. And you remember, this was after Microsoft, I think, already had the One X out, right? And they were already making some smart moves, and things were moving in a positive direction, although they hadn't had the Game Awards yet, so they hadn't announced the Series X yet. You know, but things were moving around in a positive direction. But generally, off the strength of 2 games, these idiots were saying that Sony won E3, right? But they hardly showed any games besides those 2. But it was the end of the generation. We're thinking, okay, they're holding
right
for next year with the PS5. What happened last year? They weren't even really at E3. Then again, the day before they planned to take
they
money,
barely come to their own show.
Right. So the day before they had announced they were going to take money before Walmart had messed up everything and started taking money early, and there was that whole debacle, right? That's when they finally showed off what the PS5 looked like, and we finally had a price. Like, we still don't have any games that serious on PlayStation. It's PlayStation that has no games. If you want to say that crap about Xbox with a straight face, I can say this about PlayStation with a straight face now. PlayStation basically has no games.
They don't.
Basically. I'm not saying literally, because it was wrong to say that.
Rinse and repeats, bro. Rinse and
repeats, right? And if that. So now the PS5 has been out for 6 months. This is the big E3, the E3 after console release, where you are going to dictate how the generation will go. And you're not even there. And you're not even at any other show. So, my point is, this is not even about them not being at E3 because of whatever reason. They're not at anything. They're not going to be at anything.
They don't know how to They don't know how to react. Sorry to interject like that, Sick, but
no,
think about it, man. Yeah, dude, think about it. One thing, all right. What's the thing that everybody always golf clapped about with Sony? What's the thing everybody always advocated for, even those who claim to be on our side of the fence? is, oh yeah, Sony. Oh, their marketing team is a monster. They because Sony's marketing is reactive. They have to go by what the first person has done. Xbox always went first, almost pretty much every E3 except for this one.
Mm-hmm.
They always went first. And what did Sony always turn around and do? They always turn around and pull a Bruce Lee.
Right.
And then everybody just starts riding the pony like, oh man, look at Sony. Yeah, way to go. Well, these the last E3 before the COVID hit, they really wasn't able to do very much.
Nope.
And then COVID hit, and now this one, if they showed up, I don't think they could top that.
Nope, they really couldn't.
The most they could clap for. Yeah, the most they could clap for is a 3-second CGI of Kratos and his son on a cliff, looking at some thunderclouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the funny thing about it. See, I don't know how anybody thought the new God of War was going to be this year when all they showed the last time they announced it, when they announced it, was the logo.
Yo,
how the hell did you possibly think it was coming out this year?
Yo, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out.
How do you think that?
I want to give a shout out to Duke Togo 13. I hope I
said
his name right.
He listed the names right.
Yo, Duke, we're glad to have you here, man. We haven't seen you, so we like to welcome those if we haven't seen. Glad to have you in here, Xbox comrade. You at home? Speaking of Xbox, man, we got you. Shout out to the old chat room. Keep it going. Go ahead, Sik.
Sensei, Baka, Flip Money, Judah Gaming, and Duke. Thanks for the list of games there. We should have that on the screen right now for everybody to see. A couple of these games I didn't mention: Scorn, The Gunk. Oh, The Ascent. Ooh, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Daka?
And so, basically, like you were saying, Sony really doesn't have. But see, that's the thing about it. It was okay 2 E3s ago, right? 2 E3s ago, because it was at the end of the generation. Okay, expecting they're holding off for PS5. Then last E3, I think the industry as a whole, right? Because that was when the pandemic really began to hit. All right, so even though I really don't agree with that as a term of fact, I'll let them slide for last year as well, right? Even though not really, but okay, fine, right? But this year, where you at, Sony? You're not at E3. That's one thing. Okay, maybe you would have been doing the Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley, but he's doing his thing already. He's not done yet, but it doesn't seem like you're going to be there, and you've already announced that you're not going to be at Gamescom. So when are you going to show anything? Right? Because at this point, we should already know a couple of games that are coming, right? Big ones, like we know from Microsoft, like even Nintendo to a lesser degree. But like I said, I got a lot of smoke for Nintendo. I got a lot of smoke for Nintendo because as much as Sony disappointed, at least they weren't there. So of course they disappointed they're not there. Nintendo is there and they disappointed.
Yeah, but I'll give them this.
I have no words for Nintendo, man.
I'll say this about Nintendo.
It's too kiddie for me right now, man. It's too kiddie for me.
But legal. I'll say this about Nintendo, which I wasn't feeling that show either. But they showed more of a roadmap than Sony.
Yes,
they showed their roadmap. That's not it. You're right.
It's just the roadmap isn't for me, and it doesn't sound like it's for legal, right? But at least they showed a roadmap of games and content. Yeah, like
they did.
Okay, and I gotta give a lot of I don't even know what's the term here because I don't know. I guess I must be getting old, but I'd be forgetting terms sometime. But I got a lot of shame to be laid on the laps of Capcom and to a slightly lesser extent Bandai Namco. Capcom, everybody knows. They basically did nothing. I don't get it. Right? It's like, the hell? No wonder you're so deep in debt. What the hell's wrong with you, Capcom? Right? That's number one. Number two, Bandai Namco. Dude, what the freak was that?
I don't know, man.
What the hell was that? I don't.
How about Capcom?
Well, like I said, Capcom. And I get to smoke to Capcom first. Like I don't know. It makes my head hurt. I don't get it. Like, listen, this is supposed to be a business for them, right? They just didn't do anything. The hell? Like, what did you do a press conference and then not do anything? And then Bandai Namco, basically they had an interview with one of the directors of one game. I didn't even know it was. I thought it was a bunch of filler until the press conference began, right? And the next thing I know, the stream is over. I'm like, the hell? Like, and
that's all, folks.
I didn't see the Capcom one live, right? So it didn't hit me the same way it hit y'all, right? But the Bandai Namco one did. So now I know how y'all feel about the Capcom one. Okay? I don't get that. Okay? That was just two of the dumbest things. So as much smoke as I have for Nintendo, at least they put stuff out. It's stuff I don't want, and they didn't put out the stuff I do want. And they put out one thing they're getting a lot of credit for, I would say about 15 years late. But let's get into that. So, they're showing off a new Zelda at the very end. Okay, that's cool. But all you really showed was a bit of a trailer. But it's coming out next year? Really? It's coming out next year? But all you showed is a bunch of CG or whatever. It wasn't even gameplay or anything. And you plan to be out next year? When? December? That's just late enough to at least claim you're still in 2022. And I bet you it gets delayed at least once, so it'll be out in 2023. This is the Nintendo we're talking about. Like, the hell? All right? So, you don't have a Switch Pro. So now you're really behind now. What third-party ports are you going to get? Right? Because I already mentioned, Battlefield isn't coming to the Switch. We already know why. Even before they didn't have the name on the list of the platforms that's going to have the game. Because we know the system can't handle the game.
Yeah.
We were at least expecting a Switch Pro to at least keep pace behind Nintendo, Microsoft and Sony. But they can't even do that now. Okay.
The way they look at it and their fans push it up is that Nintendo don't need to keep pace with nobody because Nintendo's Nintendo, which to me is like that's I'm tired of that too, because there was a time where Nintendo was the big dad, the king daddy of swing, and now all of a sudden it's like it takes the Wii, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we just tapped into something. And ever since they got into that lane, you can't get them off. You can't get them off that overpass for nothing. And it's what it is. And the thing is like the Switch Pro and stuff, it's coming. But be honest with you, to be honest with you, Sick and Legal, the way I feel about it is by the time that thing comes, it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah,
because it's
the same situation. Yep.
Yeah, because here's the key questions that needs to be asked, and you got to even at least give this to even, I hate to say it, even to Sony, is will this Switch Pro have the capability for machine learning? Granted that the PlayStation 5 doesn't have dedicated hardware for it, they at least have software solutions and the overhead to handle it. But from what I'm hearing from the Switch Pro, it's not going to really be. I'll put it like this: if it's software based, it's possible, but it is going to eat up some. It is going to eat up some overhead.
Yeah, because I mean, the technology partner is NVIDIA, right? And so that's perfect for them because the hardware they have, it's their technology that enables the Switch to even exist, right? But NVIDIA has had multiple upgrades of that base technology. It was 2 years old when the Switch came out. That's why I didn't buy one off bat. It was already behind when they started. This is typical Nintendo. I'm not doing that, Nintendo. You cannot be behind like that. And I'm tired of these people making excuses of, oh, Nintendo did this and that, they get a pass. But no, stop patroning their crap with your money. Stop doing it. Nintendo is just like, and I was waiting for the Switch Pro. There's a litany of games I can get on other platforms. I would like to buy on their system because it's mobile, right? They have a history, an association where people want to play old games that they played on Nintendo back in the day on a modern Nintendo platform, especially when their system is portable like that. This is what it should be. But
right. Here's my thing. Nintendo, you make simple, cartoonish kiddie games, which I have no problem with that because I, at heart, like those type of games. I like my Marios, Luigi's, and all of that, right? I'm not mad at that. But so since you can make simple, logical, cartoon, kid-friendly games, why come I can't have a normal-looking, simple console to accommodate those simple cartoon games?
Yeah.
I don't need a portable. Listen, man, you can make a killing putting out a nice little console, and you can make a killing making it portable. Have it. They got a light already out there. It's not as if, oh, I buy that console, I don't want the light. You're Nintendo. You got fans like that. If you brought back Game Boy, they're gonna buy it. If you brought back Game Boy and the screen is still black and white, they're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
That's just the biggest fans you have, Nintendo. I'm not one of those fans, Nintendo.
The biggest disappointment to me
is a decent console, and stop making the normal console the expensive one. Like it's like the normal console is a special a special controller.
Stop pricing them games. Stop pricing them games the way they pricing them. That's my thing.
Like the normal controller. God. My bad. The normal controller that I want. That's the one that needs to be coming with the console, not these little Joy-Con things. Give me the normal controller. Sell the Joy-Cons. Those are the special controllers. Come on, man. Like everything is backwards.
Yeah,
backwards to me. Like it doesn't make sense. Like,
and what kills me,
console, put Nintendo on it. Give me a controller, and then you can leave me alone. I'll buy it. Don't. Look, we always talk about your casuals. I'm the casual gamer when it comes to Nintendo.
Yeah, man.
Like I don't want much. You don't put out much. You don't put out much. So I don't want much. Just give me.
And the casuals are eating this shit up and they don't even freaking get it. Listen, they had the Wii. And on the Wii, they had this thing called Virtual Console. Why the freak? If it's just an emulator with a bunch of ROMs attached to it, or you picking and choosing games from your history throughout the life of the system, and then in the end, some of the biggest games from your past systems never come to Virtual Console. And even if you do buy them, they're not attached to your account. They're attached to your system. So when you buy the next system, all that stuff is gone. You have all this retro, like, why is not every major Nintendo game where licensing and stuff, isn't in the way that these games should have just been, listen, from
and why you keep reselling them to us too.
Right.
Back near full price.
$50 to $60.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You're putting out games that look like, you remember when the Wii came out, you go online and you created yourself, you had a big head. You put games out that look like that. And you expect me to pay $60 for that. Listen, I'm not paying $60 for
the rabbit hole gets way deeper than that, but
I'm not
to finish. What do you say?
I don't look, man. They're expecting me.
Yeah.
The casual. The most casual you can get it for the Nintendo fan is me. You're expecting me to go out and pay $60 for that. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, legal. Go and get on that. Buy two. Give me one.
Oh, here's the funny thing, though. Here's the funny thing.
If they make a real console, I'm on it. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's gonna do. I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna sit, collect dust until a Metroid, a Donkey Kong, a new Mario Brothers game comes out. Zelda, maybe. That's it.
Yo,
I don't Punch Out. Give me Punch Out. Where's Punch Out? I heard Mike.
Right. The last one was on the original Wii. We didn't even get one on Wii U. But here's the messy thing about all this.
Look, man, they can't even get Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson ain't 87.
Mike Tyson is family friendly now, man. He learned a lot of his lessons. I don't know if you ever seen his podcast. He's learned a lot of his personal lessons and stuff, the mistakes he made. He's family friendly once again. Nintendo, you need to team up with that.
He wants to make his game. I heard he's making his game. He's bringing it back on Nintendo. But I'm like,
okay, Okay,
Okay,
good.
just give me the. Okay, see, since they're gonna do that, I'm just ready for that other boxing game. What is it? What is it?
Fight night.
The E something, the E sport, not esports, but give me that
UFC?
boxing, man. Give me that one because they just put
Oh.
Mike Tyson in it, I think.
Okay.
Oh, they got Roy Jones Jr. and all them in it. Just give me that, man. I'm done. Like I just don't understand Nintendo sometimes. I understand. Oh, we
Nintendo
want to be innovative. We want to be different. Well, they're too different for me. Like they're too different.
Almost killed them multiple times. Because as successful as they was with the Wii, they were about to die from the Wii U.
Facts,
and the funny thing about it is, half of the best games on the Switch are Wii U games they put it to the Switch so they can finally make the money off of it. Like the Switch never really.
The Switch ain't nothing but a reboot. Not even a reboot. It's a remaster of all the Wii U games. Come on.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like a PlayStation right now. It's like
what kills me though is that all right. Now remember, this is me, speaking from the game dev side, all right, and this is quoting, my lead programmer and stuff, all right. Now the thing is, the hardware is not so much as the issue; it's the scope of the people whose fingers are on the code. Now, for the capabilities of the hardware of the Switch, which yes, it ain't gonna match no Xbox Series X or S. It's not going to match the PS 5 and everything. That's true, but there's still things that they could do to still try to show that there's effort. All right. Basically, what's been going on is Nintendo has been doing what I call Mickey Mousing. All right. That's basically where you just kind of sprinkle just a little bit here and a little bit there, just kind of keep the fish fed, and then you walk away for the weekend. And just keep
the copyright office off your back, right?
And that's it. Because all right, for example, all right, one of the things all right, and I'm sure you guys already know about this story. All right, all right. Remember when N64 was well, I guess you say I think this is around the time frame that Zelda 64 came out, Ocarina of Time. All right, online. Remember there was an indie developer. This is before indie development became such a big thing. All right. Who created an open world Pokemon game based off of Red and Blue.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yes. It was third person. It was open world, and you walked around with your Pikachu. All right. People, the only way Nintendo knew about it was people kept emailing Nintendo saying, "You guys need to hire this guy. You need to buy this. You need to check this out. We would pay top dollar for this." What did Nintendo do? What did they do? They shut him down.
Yep. Don't even hire him or nothing.
Yes. Now, fast forward to I think it was like 2017 or 2018. Another guy pops up, and this time he does the same thing. He makes another open world Pokemon game, but the graphics are more updated to where they match the Wii U graphics. All right. And it was actually looking pretty good because this came out before the Switch. All right. And it was online, and Nintendo came across it, cease and desist. For some odd reason, Nintendo was scared to death to evolve that franchise. And we saw that even with Pokemon Sword and Shield. All right. Now, everybody's thinking that Sword and Shield is going to be full open world, RPG and stuff, walking around with your Pokemon and stuff like that. What do they turn around and do? Oh, it's only open world in the wild zone. Oh, even though these are SD cards, in other words, like up to like almost 500 gigs capacity and stuff like that, we're still going to limit the amount of Pokemon. The community went into a rage. People were talking about they weren't going to buy it. But in the end, what turned around and happened? Y'all there?
Same old.
We're listening to you.
Oh, no. I thought this thing cut off. But no, I was asking y'all what happened.
So my headset went off.
People still went and bought it.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. People still went and bought the doggone thing. And it turned out being one of the top sellers.
Yeah.
So as far as Nintendo goes, oh, hey, I guess we did everything all right. Business as usual. Let's move on, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a great example of that. See, a couple years ago, someone released a remake of Metroid 2, which was an original black and white game.
Oh,
Boy,
don't get me started on Metroid, because that mess we saw today.
Okay. Oh, I'm about to go in, bro. I got you, Fireboss. You can sit back and relax. I got you.
Oh yeah, hit it.
Right?
Hit it.
So here's another example, and this is a title. This dude must have spent like a decade on this. He had a website up. He put up an alpha like years before he finally released the 1.0 version, right? So Nintendo knew, all the gamers knew that this dude was working on a remake of Metroid 2, right? That ended up looking like Super Metroid, right? Everybody knew about this game. The day the 1.0 comes out, now comes the you call the cease and desist. It's like, why didn't you, number one, hire this dude so it's in-house and then you get to sell it, right? The whole time, this was years he was working on this, because it was one guy basically who did this for years, right? And he didn't do anything with it. And then, but it's still all around the internet, like, and you know what it is. Once it's on this internet, it ain't going nowhere, right? So even though this guy had to stop it at the 1.0, it's been ported to other platforms. It's on other devices. You know those, what you call, cheap Amazon devices they have? They have a bunch of emulators, you know, kind of like, you know, what the console with that rapper dude, Soulja Boy, right? He took one of those Chinese ones. He put his name on it, charged $100 more. Listen, that version of Metroid 2 is better than anything Nintendo would have ever made, because it was made by a person who loved the game more than anybody at Nintendo could, right? And all they had to do was just pay the man and sell it. It was Nintendo quality, console ready, good to go off bat. All they had to do was pay the guy, put it on their platform, and sell it, right? And they sat there for years and didn't remaster the game. And people were asking for that for a long time out of Nintendo, and they never did, right? Now you look at this new Metroid, right? You know what that is? It was done better 15 years ago.
All they did is rehash the previous 2.5D Metroid they just did.
Right, but don't you realize what this game is just like? It was made by somebody else on a platform from Microsoft like 15 years ago. It was called Shadow Complex. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
This
I remember
game is just Shadow Complex with the Metroid skin on it. I don't see nothing about it that's any better than Shadow Complex, other than the fact that it's Metroid and has the Metroid motifs. But the gameplay and everything else is the same old shit we did 15 years ago. Like, that's not... Listen, Nintendo, when Shadow Complex came out and you realized you dropped the ball and you didn't make a Metroid game like that, you should have did that at least 12 years ago. It's been at least 15 years when Shadow Complex first came out. And it's now you have a game like this out?
To me, where they dropped the ball sick, this is where they dropped the ball at, is here we got games like Tomb Raider. All right, we got Miss Lara Croft, you know, shimmying on ledges and, you know, doing acrobatic flips in the air and stuff like that. Why has not Samus stepped into the 3D realm? Like, I don't want to hear about Prime. I don't want to hear about Prime. I'm not an FPS person. I played it. I tried it.
15 years ago.
I beat it.
We don't care. Yeah. Long time enough.
But
make a new one.
Yeah, but to me, I know. But see, the thing is, I know I trigger people when I say this. But to me, Prime was not Metroid. It did not feel like Metroid. It felt like I was playing Halo.
Thank you. And I want to add something to that, because I remember it. Everybody seems to freaking forget. You remember when they first showed off Metroid Prime? They tried their hardest to say it wasn't an FPS game. It was a first-person action game, right?
Sick.
And then by the time the second one was announced, everybody forgot all about that whole thing they tried to perpetrate. It was
Sick. Do you know why I'm thanking you?
Come on, everybody knew it. Everybody.
Sick. Do you know why I'm thanking you? Do you know why I'm thanking you?
Why is that?
Because everybody who I have told this to, what you are saying, the very first time they showed off Metroid Prime, she was in third person.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's always been first person. She only does third person when she goes into the ball. And I'm like, no, I said originally I said they made it where you could go between views. You could go between first person view and third person view, depending on because of the shooting mechanics. You can go first person for better aiming, but for better maneuvering and navigation, moving around, you can go to third person.
Third person. At the last second, they switched that up, and it was really an FPS game at that point. But they still tried to perpetrate. And I remember what they were saying. It was like, here's what they said: it's not a FPS game; it's a first person action
adventure.
Game. Right, it's an adventure. That's what it was, adventure game. No, and then everybody took that. Yo, they drank the Kool-Aid and repeated it up until I noticed when they announced Metroid Prime 2. Now it's a first-person shooter. Now they're saying what it was. I remember that whole time they tried to pretend like it wasn't what it really was, and I didn't understand why they even pretend like it wasn't. They made Metroid into an FPS game and they tried to pretend like it wasn't. Like, why? So
because they're trying to at the time capitalize on the hot theme at the time, which was first person shooters. In other words, competitive first person shooters.
Right, but they kept acting like it wasn't an FPS game. They kept saying, no, it's not an FPS game. It's a first person adventure game. I'm like, what do you mean? You're going with the flow for once, Nintendo. Great. But why do you want to pretend like you're doing something different? You ain't doing no different than anybody else. You're taking your franchise and you're putting it in a different genre like everybody else is. You ain't no better than nobody else. Yeah, I know you're Nintendo, and a lot of people got into gaming off of your platforms and your games, but don't try to act like you're no better than anybody else, Nintendo. You never were. Okay,
man. I know Metroid was my jam, man. Super Metroid was my jam, man. And just like how they did with Zelda, I was ready for Samus to step into the new age, man.
Yeah,
I was ready.
All good, but don't pretend like you're not doing it. It's what you did. Stick to it. Don't pretend like you're above anybody. Nintendo ain't above nobody. And listen, a lot of stuff that people are saying about Sony now, and I've mentioned this before, Nintendo used to do the same thing. They lost in Supreme Court over holding an illegal monopoly because third-party publishers couldn't make games for other platforms if they were making it on Nintendo. It was in their contract. They could only make a certain number of games.
I said, remember me saying that, legal. Remember me saying that
Nintendo is no better than anybody else in this industry.
You got to think about it.
Yes,
everything that Sony's been doing, they got from their daddy, Nintendo.
Yup, they learned from Nintendo. You know, and it's not to knock Nintendo, but you gotta keep it real, Nintendo. Stop trying to act like your shit don't stink. You're the
speaking of them. Speaking of them, you saw that mess earlier, right? Where you're talking about, we don't want nobody streaming our show.
Oh, right before it happened. Right. And then I noticed, there's a bunch of streams, and I don't mean the big names, right? Okay, because myself and Runaway Dragons were going to stream, but we didn't as soon as we heard about that. And shout out to Bloody Knuckles for letting us know, right? Because we didn't know, right? And then I'm seeing another stream, right? And it's not IGN or one of the big names who probably got a pass to do it, right? It's the Japan wage range here for it. And I can get into that a whole bunch, but I'd be here another hour. I'm going to have to put that aside. That's going to have to be another time. But back to what I'm saying, Liz.
You got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Dougie Fresh, you're on.
Oh no.
That takes me back. Nintendo blocked third-party games from Sega. If you notice, a lot of, let's say, Forgotten Worlds, Ghouls and Ghosts, early Genesis games that were supposedly Capcom franchises. Look at the title screen. Says reprogrammed by Sega. That's how they got around it sometimes. Strider, reported by Sega because Capcom wasn't legally allowed to because of the contract they had with Nintendo. Street Fighter 2 came out on the Super Nintendo, not because Nintendo had brokered a deal with them like Sony would nowadays for that. That's not what happened. It's because of that other contract they had that kept them from doing that. And they finally were taken to task about that by Namco, because Namco started Tengen, okay? Konami started Ultra Games to release more games, right? Tengen made bootleg cartridges, right? That's why their cartridges didn't look like Nintendo games. And they took Nintendo to court, all the way to the Supreme Court, until they finally won. And that's why you started seeing games on both platforms since back then. And Sony learned they had the master class. And they learned the best way is Nintendo screwed them over too. Okay? The sound chip that's in the Super Nintendo was made by the same
Sony.
dude, the father of the PlayStation, designed by that same dude. He almost got in trouble, but the CEO of Sony had his back because they wanted to fire him for making that chip for Nintendo behind their backs, even though they made a lot of money off of that and put their foot in the industry in the first place. He did that, right? But Nintendo screwed them over because they made a bad contract, but blaming Sony for it. Like, you made the contract with Sony and signed it. Why don't you think about it first? You break but that's a Japanese thing to do. And they did it with the most disrespectful manner. After letting Sony be on stage at CES back in 92, then the next day they're on stage with Philips. And don't even say anything that they're not doing a deal with Sony anymore. The day after Sony just announced their whole plan. Disrespectful. But that's a little bit of history to show you what's going on now with the Nintendo. Nintendo, and this is what I was talking about the Virtual Console before. Your games, when you buy them, are taxed to the system, not your account. So when you're buying all these old, it's just an emulator with a ROM on it, and we know for a fact because the system's been hacked 15 years ago, we know what the Wii was doing, right? It was just an emulator with a ROM attached to it. And half the time they stole it off the internet. Facts. They stole the ROMs off the internet, even though they have everything, it was there, right? So then, you buy, say, Mario 64 on the Virtual Console. It's stuck to your Wii. When you move on to the Wii U, you can transfer it. But when you get to the Switch, number one, there is no Virtual Console. When people talk bad about Game Pass, they're thinking about it like it's really like Netflix or like Nintendo Online, where you don't keep anything. It's not tied to your account. So if I bought Mario 64, if it was Microsoft, right, who was running the Wii U and Virtual Console, it would have been such that if I bought Mario 64 on the Wii, it would have been on my account. So when I got the Wii U, re-download it there. When I get to Switch, re-download it there. I don't have to pay extra.
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
That's
they
right.
Don't even have Virtual Console anymore. What they have is Nintendo Online, so they can get that monthly money from you. And they switch around the games all the time, and you can't buy the classics right out. They just had the anniversary for Mario Galaxy or whatever, right? Actually, Mario in general. How the hell do you put the game money up for like 3 months for sale and then you're going to put it in the vault? What are you, Disney? These aren't movies where you had to screw over copyright law to get your shit to be there for 100 years. Like, the hell? This isn't, listen, I could go into so much about Nintendo, but at the same time, I want to Switch Pro. I want to play R-Type on the go. There's a bunch of games I would double dip to have them in portable form if it was on the Switch, if the Switch was up to snuff. But the Switch was 2 years too old when it came out. That's why within a year they had a Switch Lite, because they were able to die shrink the chip already for it to use less power. That's why they also put that chip in that same model, original model Switch, and they had to increase battery life, because the chip was so old that within a year of them finally using it, they could die shrink it where it was using less power. Everything about the Switch is anti-consumer. Everything Nintendo is doing is truly anti-consumer, but people give them a pass because they grew up with Nintendo. They think the things they do is all right. If Microsoft or Sony did even one of the things that Nintendo does nowadays, everybody would kill. Microsoft would be super dead. That's obvious. But not even Sony could get away with the crap they do. And I have a history of Nintendo games that I love. And I think I've proven that I know my history when it comes to games. And a lot of that is Nintendo. Nintendo is a part of history that can never be taken away. But they use it against us, the consumer, and we keep falling for it. And I cannot abide by that, man. Sony gets a pass regardless, but not to the level that Nintendo does, Ashtray. I agree with you. Sony does get a pass. But even that is being questioned by everybody now. You can't give Sony a 100% pass on the crap they get, because even people are starting to wake up to that. But Nintendo, they still get that 100% pass. People acknowledge it. They know the crap they're doing. They'll mention it, but at the same breath, will be there in line to buy the next Nintendo system, to buy the next game for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time.
And that's the big problem I have. That's why I can't be on a lot of chat groups and forums, because I piss people off, because I tell them point blank, well, I'm like, if you got a problem, there's a meaning behind the word vote with your wallet.
Yeah,
don't
and I
buy
wanted
it.
a Switch Pro, but they don't got it. So forget Nintendo, man. I'm not even with. Listen, if they announce the Switch Pro this year, right, and it comes out next year, I'm not buying it. If they announce it next year and it comes out next year, it depends on how well they do it. Because if they don't do it well enough, I'm not buying it, because I'm speaking with my wallet. Nintendo is doing crap that if anybody else did, everybody would call it out instantly. But Nintendo does it, it's okay. That is not cool. Not even Sony gets away with it that much. Not even Sony. And they get away with a lot.
They get away with enough as it is. We don't need them getting away with anymore.
No doubt.
And
Nintendo, shit, bro. As much money as you think you're making, if you did things right, how much more money would you making? Like, you could sell your past history, right? Make new games, have hardware that everybody wants to buy, because not everybody wants to buy your games. As much money and as well as you think you're doing now, imagine if you address just one of the things I've mentioned tonight. How much more money you'd be making? Because this is a business, right? Don't you care about money too? Yeah, I know you have your art and all of that stuff, and you have widows like Miyamoto, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario and Donkey Kong and countless other things, he's a weird dude. He keeps a measuring tape in his pocket because he has the tendency to say, I think this object was a certain length, and he'll measure it because he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. He's like a weird art guy. And that's where the greatness of his games come from. That's cool. But just like Radiance is saying, it's a typical.
But he's also very full of himself too, because
he's
of that.
He's also very full of himself too. That's right. He is. Because remember what he said to developers of Donkey Kong. That, listen, he said some of the worst crap you could possibly say. I'm not even going to repeat any of it. You go look at it.
And by the way, this is Donkey Kong Country he's talking about, guys.
Yeah, the first one on Super Nintendo. Go read what he had to say about that game way back when. He is a legend. He's legendary for many reasons, and I have nothing but respect for him. But he was also a jerk when it came to that situation, and his head might have been a little bit too big. I don't know what position he has now with Nintendo, because I know he's not a director of games. He's more of a producer. He tells directors what to do. But bro, that does not give you a pass for some of the things that the company that you've worked for all your life is still doing. Not cool. And I think I'm just gonna have to leave that Nintendo situation on, because if I say any more, I'm gonna start cursing. I really don't want to. Nintendo,
well, ladies and gentlemen, I would have to say, SIKSLAYER and Boss, thank y'all for coming out. SIKSLAYER, man, you spitting them bars out there, man. You did it live from the streets, y'all. This is what it's about. Live from the streets. We're giving back to all my Xbox comrades out here that want to get your voice heard. Hit me up. The new legal is my gamer tag. Hit me up on Xbox. Send me a message. Hit me up on Twitter. Y'all know where to find me at, man. We back. We here. The streets is here. In the streets we trust, man. You don't get it like this all the time. Only here you get it like this all the time. There's no shortcuts. There's no easy ways out, man. Y'all know what it is, man. We come in here. We do our thing. We're the gamers, man. In the streets we trust. I want to say, man, Sik, man, you had a lot to say, man. Fire Boss, the boss of all bosses, man. It is what it is.
Even though I was late.
Yeah, thank you for coming out, homie. You had a lot of good things to say.
Hey, man, you never late. You're never late. You come when you want to come. You're never late, man. You pop up. Diplomat immunity, man. These two guys here, look, man, you guys been holding me down for a long time, man. You know, it's mutual. It's just respect. It's mutual respect, man. And I look at y'all, man. We're brothers out here, man. You know what I'm saying? And I respect y'all's craft. You know, I don't fool with a lot of people, man. As y'all know, It's in my work. It's in my work. I was doing this all by myself at one point. You know, there was my man, the general. It was me and the general for the longest. And then Tech came through. Tech's still here. You know what I'm saying? I don't just, you know, you know, there's not a lot of seats over here under my palace. You know what I mean? Because I'm from the mud. I'm from the gutters, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm down here on these streets, in these streets that don't get paved up right, man. We get cracks in them, potholes. That's where you're going to find the new legal, man. I'm down here. And the thing about it, man, I'm from that cloth of the sensei and his brother. You know what I'm saying? When we sit and we discuss gaming. What you did tonight, Sick, you made everybody pull up a chair. Yo, get your notebooks and pens out, pull up a chair. You know what I'm saying? Take these notes. You did a biggie tonight. Relax and take notes. You know what I'm saying? You spit those bars, bro. And
thank you.
It's a skill, it's a craft that we don't get a chance to witness a lot, man, because it's YouTube stuff like I say, man, I'm with Sick. Do I have to listen to you today to know what you said was facts on when I'm in the culture? And I quite easily could see years ago that what you're saying today was already happening. But because you seem to be of something of importance, you feel like now that you say it, it's verified, certified, official tissue. Man, get out of here. Any real gamer knows, man, as long as you've been paying attention, you know your knowledge. Am I lying, Sick? Am I lying, boss?
Nope.
It's just that simple and clear. People, it's okay to like who you like, but understand something, man. There's a realness out here that's lacking. A realness that's lacking. And what it is, man, is that we've become too socialized on social media to the fact where we're actually thinking that we are celebrities. We're not celebrities. I keep saying this. We're not celebrities, man. Nobody on YouTube is getting a star on the Hollywood floor. Nobody is, man. You make your PR relations. You know, if you need a coattail, if you need to go under the table, you know, if you need to put your head in the car window, you know, if that's what you got to do, you do it. But just know that ain't happening over here. We don't do none of that. You're not going to hear us say, you're not going to hear us call a console plastic. You're not going to hear any watered down anything. We respect this culture so much that we are willing to take our time to actually educate and talk about some things. You know, it's hard being against the grain, but I'm gonna tell y'all something, boss is Sick. I wouldn't have it no other way, man. It just wouldn't be me. I'm not a crowd pleaser, bro. And I never hanged, I hung, if I'm making any sense to anybody out there. You know, only the reals know what that meant. I never hanged, I hung. So, you know, when you have a concept about yourself, the only thing I ever want the streets to know is that I never changed. There's no confusion over here. It's simple. It's Xbox or nothing over here. It's simple. I don't make it hard to understand what this is about over here. And that's what it is. Di-RRec gaming is about the celebration of the Xbox culture. And that's not a very popular situation, because what's popular is to feed into your feelings, is to act like I'm this multiple console performer and make you think that that's important. Bro, that's not even important. Who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? That's just the way I look at that. Who cares, man? But when it comes to repping this Xbox, I don't see you repping it. I see you using it, but I don't see you repping it. There's a difference. There's a difference. You know, It's just like anybody can grab a Cadillac car, sick and boss, and drive it off the floor room. Drive it off that floor room, bro. But can you rep it? Do you know how to turn that steering wheel? Do you know how to make your fingers look when you're gripping that wheel? Do you know how to lean in that seat? Do you know how to even make a Cadillac look like a Cadillac?
That's an entire different culture on its own, man. You got to have grown up. I ain't talking about just hang around. I'm talking about grown up with family that drove them caddies. And that would be the case with my granddaddy. And before him, my great granddaddy. Both preachers. And you know, back in them days, Southern preachers always rocked in what?
Bosses. That's right. No, it's true. Boss is true. They rock the caddy. Look, the pimps rock the caddy. And you know what? If you was the young OGs, you bought the Lincolns off the old folk and you roll those things, because when the Lincoln turned into a bubble, it had a little sports edition bubble look. It was a wrap. Lincolns came back. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things, man, that certain aspects carry a culture with them, and we use two types of cultures, and it's the same thing in gaming. If you claim that you are all these multiple console, you possess these things, why do you not teach from them? Because it's not what you claim, it's what you do. You holding these consoles, but you're empty. So I heard
if you look
went through the whole
PS5 and Ratchet and Clank so much, why don't we see gameplay?
There you go.
Where's the video capture?
Right.
Well, where's the screen caps? What's going on?
We just witnessed Sick go around the whole spectrum. He ain't got to profess that he owns these consoles. It's just easy. You don't even have to own them. See, when you're a true gamer, you don't even have to own them. That's the greatest mystery of it all. That's why when you hear people say that, that's a weakness.
And I would get a PS5, but I don't like the way they are right now. So
it's a form of weakness. I ain't gotta have no console to prove that I'm a gamer. I can tell you, meet me in the arcade. I can actually say, where's your dollars at? Where's your quarters up? Throw them up. Let's go in there. Then what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? We can spend the night up in that dungeon.
Oh yeah, and if y'all ain't covered this already, those of y'all listening, man, don't bother engaging with this 4K 30 foolishness with Forza. Don't do it. I'm sorry to derail, man. It's just that's just grasping at straws, because dude, we all know this. I'm sure legal done already beat it into the ground that Xbox came in with the ground and pound cannons full bore, and they owned E3. E3 was obliterated by Xbox.
Like I said, 60 frames per second was the standard, and that's what's killing them.
And so the thing is,
they're looking for anything to justify their tears. So they want to they want to try to make up stuff, but that's where my comedy. See, you got to understand something. When I see weakness, that's my comedy. I pull out my newspaper, sit back, my lawn chair, and crack up. I watch these fools make fools out of themselves each and every day.
Don't even chase that mess up, because at the beginning of the presentation, the dude told you it's 4K 60.
Fact.
So come on now. So it took somebody to come across an accidental typo. Oh, we got him. 4K 30.
G4 in the building. And my mom couldn't find a place to rest until I got that Xbox tatted on my chest.
Come on. So don't even the media don't even follow them up.
Rain G4 in the building for that one. That's it, boy. Straight up. We the streets, man. The game is
Jason Schreier, you're still a clown. You're still a clown because E3 is redeemed. Why? Because Nintendo saved E3. Really? You really out here saying this? Jason Schreier, you know that bum.
Look, man. You know what I love? See, y'all get mad about it, but I don't.
Clown.
Let me tell you why I don't get mad at that.
Nobody even looks at that with a straight face without going, even if you're a Sony fanboy. You got to be crazy.
Listen, Sick.
No, I laugh at that mess when I actually see people calling themselves going back and forth about Nintendo carried E3, and I'm like, wait a minute, they carried. I'm like, wait a minute, they carried it with what? What they use?
Right.
Where's the tractor at?
Sick, you Haitian, man. You Haitian. You getting mad, right?
Oh,
we understand it, boss. We understand it. You getting mad, right?
What are you talking about, man? He done already took out the machete, the sugar cane machete, and put it on the table.
Exactly.
Don't play with me, live boy. I'll come after you. No, I won't. No, I won't. Don't start saying that.
But here's my thing about it.
Be like, yo, man, I hope you about to cut some sugar cane down, man.
Facts. Here's my thing about it, y'all. I expect that to happen. This is why I'm an Xbox fan. I wouldn't have it no other way. Can you imagine? I can't imagine myself running around in Donkey Land or being tied to that weak whack stuff over there that Nintendo serves up. I can't do it, man. It's not in my pedigree. You know what I'm saying?
I tried. It didn't work.
I love being on the side of the fence that everybody's gonna ridicule. But here's one fact. The proof is in the pudding, man. There is no next generation without an Xbox. There isn't. What does Xbox say? Y'all are my chillins.
People always speak on Nintendo about innovation, but they hush their lips when it comes to Xbox.
There wasn't nothing innovative at all about their E3, bro. It is what it is. Yeah,
I'm talking about through the years, man. They always like to chomp on about Nintendo and being innovative, but yet they ignore, who brought online to the front.
Right, because those are facts. Because boss, those are unfutable facts. You can't deny that, right? That's what I'm saying. When being a true Xbox fan is understanding the dues. Xbox paid the dues. Xbox put some of this roadmap, laid the floor back for these dudes to walk on, man. And people just don't want to admit to that because, like I told you, you got to understand this. We got Sony now. Majority of the fan base, little girls running around all emotional, typing, putting boy profiles up, hiding. So they're already weak right there.
The media too, the worst ones. Starfield
being all sensitive. Right, they're crying and being all sensitive to whatever pops up. We kind of realize, like, man, they sound so stupid sometimes. But now we get it. We know what it is.
But you understand why I just don't engage with them no more, right? You see that what you just said right there.
Once the cat got out of the bag, it was easy not to engage with him no more. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
We knew something was just not right.
But a lot of times, legal. A lot of times, legal. I feel that a lot of them are actually doing that on purpose, just to get a rise. And that's why I called out a few of them and I mean, teed them off big time because I said, be honest with you, I don't even think you're really a gamer. I think you're just a troll who's just out here just, stoking the flames on both sides of the fence.
Yep.
You're just here for a rise.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Because just like I said, we ain't seen you love Ratchet and Clank, you love talking about it. Where's the footage?
Because they already beat it.
Because they don't have it.
It's one of the easiest
because they don't have it. They probably don't even have the PlayStation.
They probably don't even have it. Right. That's the thing.
So that's why I say they're not even gamers.
Right. Nah, man. And look, that's what but like I said, they brought Ratchet and Clank to my sacrificial table. That's what they brought to me for next generational gaming. Just think about that. Do you not see the comedy in that? That's what you brought to me.
Well, I see the
now since you brought that to me, I'm laughing the whole way out of this thing.
I ain't gonna front. That's actually kind of funny, homie. I'm gonna post it in the chat for everybody to see. He posted something that was actually funny. There you go.
Facts. I'm tripping out on them talking about going through portals. That's really comedy to me. Like they're really bugging on that.
Yep.
Oh, we don't have no load times. Bugging on that. I can show you no load times on my last console. See, that's where they're lost. They think that Sony's actually doing something, but we were already doing what they're already professing. That's not next generation. We was doing that last generation. Ori and the Will of the Wisp was doing that on my Xbox One X. There wasn't no load times on that game. Nope. What are they talking about? Zero load time.
Oh, don't forget about the portals that were in Titanfall, like that, and multiple other games.
And don't forget the game Portal. Get it? Yep. No pun intended. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like.
And they made better use of that idea like 15 plus years ago. It's been 2007 that came out.
Eli. Exactly. The thing about it is this, man. Look, it's too. Look, I'm not paying $60 games that look like Cartoon Network figures, man. I'm just not doing that. It's not doing it. They're not suckering me into that, right?
What's wrong? What legal? You ain't getting no Nickelodeon games, man.
Facts.
You ain't getting no Nickelodeon racers.
Facts.
We get all that kart racing. Okay.
Right. I understand when my Marios and my Luigis, my Donkey Kongs, my Punch Outs, my Metroids come into play. I get that because that's when I'll get my Nintendo, right? And I'll let it collect dust after I beat the games. It's just gonna go under the bed or something. You know, put it up in the attic or something. Wait for another game and another 8 years to come out. That's gonna draw my interest. That's just the way Nintendo is now with me. It's just what I expect. So when I see something like Xbox E3, it was so great that I knew that they would have to hate on it. Like, you don't hate on something without showing its greatness. They're hating on the Xbox E3 because Xbox did something great. That's all it is, man.
Once again,
they want their shows to be like that. Well, you haven't got a show. Sony hasn't showed y'all anything since 2017, and now y'all so used to
called Grinching.
Yeah, they're so used.
It's called Grinching. They up on Who Hill and Who Valley. how dare you enjoy your gaming? Right. How dare you enjoy your velocity architecture?
Right. Sony has trained them, right? They knew, they'll be upset. Give it 6 more months. Give it another year. Give it 2 years of nothing. Then they'll get used to the nothing.
Yeah, but they stopped training them. Now they're training each other with lies. Right. Because they're repeating each other's lies. If you notice, up until recently, like I said, all their narratives have been destroyed one by one. The same old narratives they used to use all the time, right? But if you notice, even back when those narratives were in action, they all sounded the same. You knew a pony on Twitter before he said 10 words. Because 5 of those 10 words were the same old crap you've heard from the rest of them. You already knew what it was, right? They all sound the same. They all think, well, they don't think, so they just repeat the same thing. Because if they actually thought, at least they would say the same thing a different way. But they don't even do that. That's how you know.
Right. That's how you identify. It's like they're training wheel mindsets, man. Training wheel mindsets, bro.
Yep.
Exactly. Hey, y'all, look, it's been nice. Hey, I want to make another shout out. Shouts to Rain G4. Shouts to Eli the Realist, man. Yo, shouts to the whole entire Xbox Live community. Shouts to the chat room. Shouts to SIKSLAYER. Shouts to Boss. Yo, I just want to say.
Togo had a lot of posts there in the chat that was some real high-level stuff, bro.
Definitely.
I gotta say.
You don't know how I had a blast tonight. Y'all already know, man. Diplomat Immunity, Di-RRec Gaming, live from the streets. Keep it gaming. Remember to chase the one up in life, y'all. And we out of here. Peace. And remember, I forgot, this is a YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification. Make sure
you smash that like button.
Right. Smash it. Smash that like button. Hit that notification bell so you'll never, ever, 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 miss any of the shows that we bring, man, from a daily live from the streets, yo. And like I said, man, put a like, put a dislike, leave some comments below, get in the chat, do whatever you feel to spin the new legal, represent Di-RRec Gaming. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.